The following courses are available in the subject area on Bible prophecy. 1. The 7,000-year plan of God. 2. God's prophetic time clock. 3. The parable of the fig tree. 4. The spiritual battle between Jacob and Esau. 5. Hebraic Bible prophecy. 6. The USA in Bible prophecy. How do we understand Bible prophecy from a Hebraic perspective? Among other things, Bible prophecy is determined by a study of time. Biblical history is prophecy. Prophecy begins with an understanding of creation. Each day in the 7 days of creation represents 1,000 years of time. The final 1,000 years is the prophetic Sabbath of creation. It is also known as the Messianic Age. Next, we need to understand that there is a spiritual battle going on in our world between Jacob and Esau. In the end, Jacob will prevail, and Esau will be judged. Esau is represented by the kings of the earth in Psalm 2, 1-4. The end of days is associated with the nations dividing the land of Israel and the city of Jerusalem. This will be done by the nations seeking to recognize a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. This will result in the judgment of the nations. The USA will be judged during the judgment of the nations. When the nations are being judged, the God of Israel will end the exile of the 12 tribes of Israel and bring them back to the land. This will be done during the time of the Great Tribulation. Through these events, Yeshua will return for a bride who will initially rule with him, teaching the Torah to all nations during the Messianic era, and then will live with him forever in the New Jerusalem. The first course in this subject area is the 7,000-year plan of God. The 7 days of creation is a prophecy of 7,000 years of time. Each day in creation represents 1,000 years of time, as it is written in Psalm 90, verse 4, and in 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. We will also look at examples in the Bible that prophetically foreshadow the 7,000 years of time, including Noah and Lazarus. This teaching will show genealogies in the Bible, beginning with Adam, to establish that there were 4,000 years from Adam to Yeshua. The last 1,000 years are known as the Day of the Lord. Yeshua came to earth at his first coming after 4,000 years. Yeshua will set up his kingdom on the earth for 1,000 years when he rules and reigns from Jerusalem, teaching the Torah to all nations during the Messianic era. This course will also examine some of the major signs of the coming of the day of the Lord. The 7th day of creation is the final 1,000 years in the 7,000-year plan of God. This is also known as the day of the Lord. This day will arrive in darkness. This day is commonly called Jacob's trouble, or the tribulation period. The day of the Lord arrives in darkness, in the night. The day of the Lord is the prophetic 7th-day Sabbath of creation. It is the final 1,000 years of the 7,000-year calendar. The next course in this subject area is God's prophetic time clock. Does the God of Israel have a prophetic time clock? How is creation a prophecy of time? How is the exile of Israel prophetic of time? How is the Jewish 70-year captivity linked to the last generation? Is the birth of the modern nation of Israel a time clock for the last generation? How long is the last generation? How are the 70 weeks of Daniel associated with the last generation? How long is the prophetic day of the Lord? All these questions and many more will be answered in this course. The third course in this subject area is the parable of the fig tree. In Matthew 24:32, Yeshua said, "Learn a parable of the fig tree." The fig tree is the nation of Israel. In Isaiah 46 verse 10, it is written, "Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure." We see from this verse the Torah principle that biblical history is prophecy. The historical Babylonian captivity of the Jewish people is a prophecy of the restoration of the nation of Israel in the end of days. In Matthew 24:32-34, it is written, "Now learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you also, when you see all these things, know that it is near, at the doors. Assuredly, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place." In Jeremiah 24, we read of another parable about good and bad figs. Jeremiah 24 verses 1-3, it is written, "The Lord showed me, and there were 2 baskets of figs set before the temple of the Lord, after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away captive Jeconiah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and the princes of Judah, with the craftsmen and smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon. One basket had very good figs, like the figs that are first ripe, and the other basket had very bad figs, which could not be eaten. They were so bad. Then the Lord said to me, What do you see, Jeremiah? And I said, Figs, the good figs, very good, and the bad, very bad, which cannot be eaten. They are so bad. What do the good figs and the bad figs represent? How does the God of Israel deal with the good figs and the bad figs? How is this parable from Jeremiah 24 connected to the parable about the fig tree in Matthew 24? What does this parable of the fig tree from Matthew 24 tell us, the final generation, as we come to the close of this present age? Listen in to find out the answers to these questions and much more. Our next course in this subject area is the spiritual battle between Jacob and Esau. The spiritual conflict in our world between good and evil is represented in the Bible by the spiritual battle between Jacob and Esau. Esau represents the values of this world and the desires of the flesh. Esau is associated with being a man of the flesh and a man of the world. Esau is associated with only caring about himself. Esau is associated with pride, power, and manipulative control. Esau is associated with hating your brother. Esau is associated with murder and violence. Esau is associated with disobedience to parents. Esau is associated with a root of bitterness. We will learn about the spiritual characteristics of Esau. Esau is associated with Edom, which means red. This is also connected to the dragon and to the devil, as it is written in Genesis chapter 25, verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, "Feed me, I pray, with some of that red pottage, for I am faint." Therefore was his name called Edom. You will learn that Esau is also associated with Babylon, with Greece, and with Rome. Jacob represents the desire to follow after the ways of the God of Israel, following after his Torah, and striving to be one who overcomes in the struggles, trials, and tribulations of this world. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, which means to struggle and prevail, and thus rule and reign. In the end of days, the God of Israel will judge Esau when he judges the nations. In the end of days, Esau will say that the mountains of Israel, that is, biblical Samaria or the West Bank, and Jerusalem, belongs to him instead of Jacob. In the end of days, Esau wages a war of violence against Jacob, wanting to wipe him off the map. In the end of days, the house of Joseph needs to unite with Judah in order to defeat Esau, as it is written in Zechariah 9, verse 13. When I have bent Judah for me, and filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up your sons, O Zion, against your sons, O Greece, and made you as the sword of a mighty man. Jacob rises, the Messianic kingdom, when Esau is defeated. King Messiah will defeat Esau. The next course in this subject area is Hebraic Bible Prophecy. In this course, Eddie shares his insights with us regarding how a Palestinian state and the dividing of the land of Israel will bring about the judgment of the nations. The fall of the end-time daughter of Babylon nation, the ingathering of the exiles of Israel, which will usher in the beginning of the Messianic era. These things are associated with the controversy of Zion. This controversy is over the land of Israel. On one side will be those who, in faith, believe the covenant that God made with Abraham and his descendants. And on the other side will be those who want to divide the land to create a Palestinian state, that is, spiritual Esau. The Great Tribulation period, lasting for 1260 days, is known as Jacob's trouble. Listen in as Eddie maps out this compelling topic. The last course in this subject area is the USA in Bible Prophecy. Is the USA in Bible Prophecy? Yes. She is called the daughter of Babylon. See Isaiah 47:1, Jeremiah 50:43, and Jeremiah 51:33. She has the characteristics of the ancient Babylon, but she is an end-time nation. Her judgment is described in detail in Isaiah Jeremiah, and Revelation. The daughter of Babylon is described as being the glory of kingdoms, a military power, economically prosperous, a land of pleasures, idolatrous, wicked, and practicing witchcraft. She refuses to repent. She is completely destroyed during the tribulation period in the time of harvest. Prior to being completely destroyed, the house of Israel and the house of Judah, who are living in the USA, will be ingathered by the Messiah and will begin a journey to return home to the land of Israel. If you have a heart and a love for understanding what time is it on God's prophetic time clock, and you seek to understand the prophecies associated to the end of days, take these courses from this subject area, Bible prophecy, and discover the hidden truths about Bible prophecy and the end of days.